All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in December 11th, 2019, and this is going to be a day to remember. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very big day with the Fed and what's going to happen and what it's going to set up for the rest of 2019 and then coming into 2020. So I'm going to go over 3 stocks that I'm going to buy tomorrow. I know at least one of them I'm already in. Another one I'm for sure going to buy, and then the last one is kind of my YOLO I'm watching into this week. But what happens tomorrow is going to create a different type of play, and I figured the plays and the trades and the amounts I'm putting down and all of that, I feel like that is going to speak more for what is at the core of the matter here coming into all of this tomorrow. So it is going to be a wild one. So make sure you guys are subscribed, make sure you like the video, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it's pinned in the comments. But I had to say that because we're going to be streaming this all tomorrow live. So the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee interest rate decision. Wow, that sounds really long when I say it like that. But we're going to be streaming that live. We're going to get the release at 11 a.m. Pacific or 2 p.m. Eastern, and then 30 minutes later, that's when the press conference starts. So this is even going to relate to some of the keys I'm going to go over, so I have those for you. I got the plays we made today. Shout out all the people watching the stream. You know it's good, baby. Shout out to Stream Alerts, too. We love y'all. And then I got the plays for you tomorrow. But all of that is going down. We better see you live on the stream. Well, I guess, I mean, you don't have to. If you'd like to come, hopefully we see you there. It's probably going to be useful and important because of, well, everything and all the implications this holds. So this is going to be very important. Hopefully we see you. Option trading drill. Whereas you can't lose off much financial investment. Please consult with financial advisors. Such educational purposes only. Okay. I'm just really hyped. I hope you guys are too. I hope you are ready for tomorrow. It's going to be good. But let's get into the keys. So right off the bat, most likely tomorrow is 100% most likely going to be no cut. A lot of people have asked, and I think this was a very, very good question. They said, how come we are not looking at the rate cut monitor as much as we were? So this is great. It's a great question, because if you just started looking at this tool at any time in the last year, you're probably like, why do we keep looking at this? You're like, oh, I didn't know this existed. But that's only because the last 6 Fed meetings, or most of 2019, they were very, very pivotal meetings. You know, it was at a crucial point in a change in the cycle from raising rates to cutting rates to raising rates and stopping the rates and doing all that. So you're not always, for the last few years, we haven't really looked at this thing. So right now, it's pretty much expected. The market, it took a few meetings. Think about all the moves that happened. Think about all the trade news, the back and forth, and all the time it took for the market not to really be too pushed and pulled. So this is going to be an easy one. So it's important, though, and it still holds implications. I mean, there could even be a black swan tomorrow. That's still in the cards, I think. And again, how much money I'm putting down on these plays shows, how confident I am in that, is where I'm very, very tentative. That's kind of even the whole attitude I'm getting. The more certain something is, it's good, because you want to let it happen, but then you do want to watch out if anything does occur. So, but the point here being is we don't look at the Fed rate monitor tool as much or as often when it's not a real decisive meeting, or if the market isn't as split. So if the market hasn't been so convinced of this trade deal and everything, this would be completely different. Now, what that says for January's meeting and the future rate cuts, that might come back on the table. So as the economic situation changes and the stance of the Fed changes, when that starts to become more unclear and volatile like it was as we saw throughout this year, this is when we're going to start looking at these futures of the Fed funds rate. So that being said, you see 97% to 1.5 to 1.75. That is the current range we're at. So the market is not pricing in any sort of move. So we're most likely going to see that. So now, depending on the scope of the action we see tomorrow, we could potentially see a big move in a broader sense as it links to the trade news. But the main point is going to be that what gets decided today, and then at the end of the week, this is going to set the stage for 2020. And then Q1 is as well as Q1. And people are going to move accordingly, but they're going to move quickly. So this is what I'm saying, where what happens tomorrow could lead to a bigger source of a move in the broader sense. The minute the interest rate decision gets off the table, people are going to start now looking towards the trade news. And now this was kind of what caused today's up and down. It was people saying, there was a rumor in the morning that the White House is going to suspend the tariffs. Then the White House advisor, I think it was Navarro or it was Lighthizer, they said that that's not the case. But even now, today after hours, literally not too long ago, like about 20 minutes ago, White House trade advisor Navarro says that it'll be Trump's decision on delaying the December 15th tariffs, but will come soon. So whether or not more tariffs come into play over the weekend, that's one big thing. But then it's what happens with that is, does that lead to a trade deal or not? But again, right when the interest rate comes out there, everyone's expecting stuff. We talked about it yesterday. The key is going to be looking tomorrow for the interest on excess reserves. If they do anything with the bond buying program, and then just overall policy shifts, changes, the dot plot and all that, those are going to be the main things. And we're going to see there tomorrow as it comes out. But once that comes off the table, the market's going to start pricing in the trade news. And that's what they already have. And that's what we even saw today. So keep that in mind. But now what I'm saying is, the minute the trade news gets out of the way, the minute the rates get out the way, there's going to be a 2-week period where the market kind of now has some clarity in 2019. That's what's going to set up the melt up or the meltdown coming into the end of the year. And it's going to happen quick. So that's what I'm saying. Tomorrow and what happens by the end of this week is going to lead to the potential for big moves. And I can kind of starting to see it with kind of low volume, but high volume in days. The people are getting ready to run. It's like at a race. It's like the red light, the yellow light, and now we're at like the third yellow light, and then it's about to hit green. So again, once the market gets the data it needs, people are going to start making moves here coming into the end of 2019 and beginning of the year. So keep that in mind. But now, as far as how we're going to play tomorrow, hopefully you guys are there to see. There is going to be a move after the release, but then also before they do the press conference. So this is important. This is going to be our time to digest what happens. That's why I'm saying hopefully you guys are there in the morning. We'll be reading over it. We'll see what happens. We'll be able to analyze, hey, this is what they changed. This is what they didn't. And from there, kind of get an idea. But what I'm saying from this is that right when the report comes out at 11 or 2 p.m. Eastern, the market's going to move a little bit and do its thing. And then as people start digesting it, you guys are going to start seeing the news headlines, all of that. As we start getting that in and taking that in, the market's going to move all the way up for 30 minutes until the press conference. So that window from when it gets released to the press conference is not really going to be decisive of what the market's going to do tomorrow. So that is going to be our window to make a play, or even shortly after, again, listening to the press conference. So we will see for any bombshells or black swans. So there's that. And then lastly, the trade war is the key. I mean, again, considering all of this with the meeting, I think it's important, and it has its importance too, especially the last Fed meeting of 2019, especially the implications for 2020. But at the end of the day, I think what happens here in the trade war, that's what could surprise, or that's what could really dictate the market both now and even in the future. So again, we will see. But in general, understand how tomorrow is going to work. The report's going to come in later of the day. Then the bulk of the move is going to happen in the follow-up. So you're going to get, think about it, from 11 till 1. And then again with the press conference, there's really only going to be like 30 minutes of trading, or 30 minutes of digestion time from when the Fed talks and then the report comes out for people to make moves and then the market close. And then a bulk of the move is going to happen Thursday in the morning for that first hour or two, or even throughout, and then maybe even the last hour or two, whatever it may be. But then Friday, it might even kind of be one of those stalling out days. And we've seen this following the post-Fed. So watch for your timing of plays, and that's even going to lead now into the potential plays that I have here. So good luck tomorrow. Hopefully I see you there. Be prepared. If you have any questions on the Fed, man, don't hesitate. Post them below, and we could go through that tomorrow morning before the watch list, or even, make sure you post your watch list, everybody. That's very important. But we could even cover it, during there. So make sure you're on the stream and see. This is kind of confusing. I think it's going to be an easy Fed event, so I think it's going to be a lot to learn. But this is really, if you're new to trading or you've been here now with me for this long, pay attention to this end of the year effect. And I'm talking like real end of the year, this last 2 weeks, because it is going to be important, especially with these moves. So I want these to stick as place markers. So when you look at this coming into next year, and next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the week of that, let's go, baby. Cool. So let us get into the plays. Right off the bat, I said this play at the beginning of the week. If you're interested in what play I am playing on both sides for the Fed meeting, I am going after the Bank of America 35 calls, and I believe the 30 puts. Excuse me, it was 30 and a half puts and 35. I literally put $50 on each, so I only have $100 playing that both ways till December 27th. The event that something from the Fed meeting changes, and it's going to pretty much cause a big swing, as the banks have been up and are kind of at this point and kind of waiting for it. So that's the main play. I might average down on it. That's what I say in the first play. This is the one I'm in. I don't know if I'm going to average down on it, just again considering the scope of this meeting and how there's kind of more it looks like the market's reacting and pricing in more important news in the trade war rather than this Fed meeting. So we'll see. I'll even look at TLT as a follow-up after the Fed, but the one I'm going to play, I didn't play it today, I posted it here yesterday, but this is going to be the important one, is the Lulu Iron Condor. So you could check that out on the watch list from yesterday, but they report earnings tomorrow after hours, and I'm looking for an Iron Condor. So I'm either going to do the 235, sell the 235 call, buy the 237 call, and then sell the 225 put, buy the 222 put. But I think I might even do it on the wider range. I'm probably leaning 70-30, where I'm 70% more likely going to do sell the 235 call, buy the 240 call, and then sell the 225 put, and then buy the 220 call, or buy the 220 put. So pretty much widen it by an extra 250. It's going to be like $100 to make 400 on that. But now the dilemma, I don't know. So hopefully you're there tomorrow. This is where I'm trying to decide if I do the weekly, which will only have pretty much tomorrow. So it's either I'm going to be right or wrong, or I could try to price it in with next week, which will be a little bit more safer and less of like a, either right or wrong tomorrow. But we're going to have to see on that. So what I'm really curious of is if I could get the same credit to collateral. The weekly has a high IV. The weekly's offering pretty much that $10 range. I'm pretty much saying Lululemon isn't going to move more than $10 up or down. That's where both break evens are. So that's what I'm betting on. But it's paying out pretty much 210, 220 of credit. So if I could get a December 20th with a $10 range for that same credit to collateral, I will go with that. But now if the next week's offer a different credit to collateral, I might space them out, or I might just go with the weekly. I'm kind of feeling the weekly, but again, I'm going to want to see too, and I'm going to probably make the play at close, or if I put more than one, if I spend more than 100, I'll do one in the morning and then one at close. Again, what I need to see is what's going on with the market in the morning, how it moves, and ultimately I want to see my prices. So hopefully you guys are there to watch it. But the best part is I haven't got this play yet. So only ones we got is the Bank of America, and we're holding that. And then lastly, the last and final play. I think this is for all the DGens out there. PMAX said, call this out. I said, hey, I got you. I like this play, but it's not a weekly. And it's not a weekly for many reasons. And I was going to buy it here at close. I just wanted to wait. We've seen it. But this is probably going to be a play quick in the morning here. I'm looking at anywhere from the 290s to the 300s. So I brought up PMAC because I was just thinking, I was like, I guess, he kept talking on the 11 at 11 about these 5-8 cent contracts. I saw this at 8 cents. I was like, if we get that there, that one's pretty nice, but 297, 300's far. But these were the original ones I like. So I'm going to be looking 290 to 300. Now, I still might even get one of these 295s or 297s pretty much. If I'm not really seeing it play out how I want to, but I want my hand in the cookie jar, I'm going to go for the cheap ones with a little bit extra time. But that's the thing too. Once you start getting to the 300 strike prices, I feel like you might as well just go to January at that point, and you could get those for 50 cents or something. But if anything, the December 20th, I'm looking at these 290s here. They were at 30 cents today. At one point, you could see right here, but they were even cheaper there from yesterday. But I kind of like where UNH is at. But again, UNH is a weird game of musical chairs, so we have to wait. But if there is, depending on how the healthcare stocks react, or if there's anything, I'm going to keep my eye on this, and this is going to be one of the plays I like. So watch out for UNH, but those are your top 3 plays. As far as everything else, going to be watching all those. Going to be watching Boeing. They dropped a lot today, and they had interesting set of news, orders, and cancellation. And again, just in general, they're at a pretty important price. You could see us from an equilibrium level. They're heading down. So, watch out for Boeing. The volume's above average here. It's making a move. Anytime at these levels, as you could see, it's a good time to sell some premium. Or it's a good time to even buy some of the plays if we could expect something big. I only say premium because I'm worried about the melt up or melt down. And you could kind of see that in Shopify. This is starting to look like a melt up. That's why a good thing we have time on that. I'm still going to be watching Shopify. So even though it's slightly going up little by little every day and having these big candles, you can see it's just slowly curling up. That kills contract prices unless you price them in accordingly. So that's why I'm saying sometimes that's where that helps the premium sellers and hurts the premium buyers. So keep that in mind. But watch Boeing, watch where it's at, watch HD. That credit spread I posted yesterday, that thing is up already. I want to say about 20 or 30%. It made the move right in the morning, so it was really hard. We weren't even able to get it, but that did good. Then watch, I wanted to put this up because I knew people were going to talk about it. GameStop, they had earnings after hours today. They dropped, and they had a big drop, but just be careful with the options. Again, if you're going to play a put on the continuation, remember, if you buy like a $5 put, if the stock goes to zero, the most intrinsic value you're going to be able to make is $500. So if you spend $100 to make $500, you would need GameStop to go to zero. So be careful with that and pay attention, if anything, more to shares. But I know a lot of people were looking at that. So watch them, watch the Lululemons, then the Bank of America, and then lastly, TLT. That's what's going to be kind of even my bellwether, both before the Fed and after the Fed. And that window I talked about with the Fed, TLT's, it's going to make some wild moves. So sometimes there could be some plays, especially if some of you guys want to do some crazier flips. So watch out for them. Watch Shopify. I like them. I like AutoZone. This was expensive. I want to watch this for a continuation because this is a big price stock. The spreads are hard to play. It's not going to have too much attention, which low-key could make it a really good candidate. So watch out for this tomorrow. The spreads are crazy. I think you can't really play anything decent without spending like $100, but I'm going to watch out for it. I mean, if it really starts looking like it's doing the crazy continuations, I'll take it, but I'm going to keep my eye out for them. Watch Cigna. It's related to UNH in the healthcare, but they said that they announced news today that they're selling off a portion. It dropped and it operated a little bit weird, but I'm going to keep a close eye on them. Watch Facebook, too. They kind of were awful, kind of all day today. They operated a little bit weird. And again, even on the daily, they're at an interesting point, and they've been moving really slow. So, with IV, if a big move starts to break out, there's going to be some contracts that are getting cheap on Facebook. So watch out for that. Watch Target, again, slowly melting up as well. The contracts are expensive, though. I don't really like it. It's pricing in like a $5-6 move for like $30 or $40, but Target doesn't really move like that. So unless it was after earnings, so watch out for that. But there's them, and then Booking, big moves with the dollar. There's the Fed, and anytime there's a big move, I kind of like Bookings. Again, remember, there's some nice credit spreads and stuff you could get paid a decent amount on. So watch them. They're pretty much trading at another equilibrium level. You see, again, these equilibriums are important, especially now with, like I'm saying, wrapping up into 2019, 2020. So watch out for them. Watch Apple. They did very good today, and they led the market. Disney was down. They kind of pretty much operated with the market again, too. They're kind of selling off here. It kind of looks like Boeing, but a little bit higher, so watch out for them. Then there's Starbucks. Starbucks slipped today, but if they could break out from here out of that equilibrium, they're going to kind of start breaking up into an uptrend. Watch JPM as well. I'm going to keep an eye on those as a secondary of the banks. We got Target and UNH, and then NVIDIA. They were bullish. They were looking good. We called out the play this morning, and this was shout out. I think it was Mike Tyson out there, baby. I love showing you guys stuff because if you guys know my criteria with NVIDIA, I usually say on a weekly, if it's pricing in about $60 for a $6 move, that's a fair or a good price, especially when it hasn't moved too much. And that's what happened. These 220s were pricing at $60 in the morning, and someone called it out. They're like 36, or I think it was up at like 60 when they called it out. That thing doubled, even some of the further out the monies, but then it came down because, again, this is the weekly. That's why I tell you guys, you want to get time, because if even the ones next week dropped, and that's kind of the nature of NVIDIA, but it's better than really, this contract, this weekly, wrong chart. But if this contract on the weekly, this could depreciate really quick depending on what happens tomorrow. So we're going to see, but I'm going to keep that one as a tentative eye. But if anything, we're going to be watching the news, watching the trade war, and watching the Fed, what happens from there. There's still a lot of plays and a lot of stuff that could happen here. So I hope you guys are in the game, and I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure you're positive and respectful, and please be positive and respectful during the Fed, you guys. People talk, ask questions. Just show some love, man. Hold it down. Ask some good questions. Let's get a really good dialogue. I would love for you guys to bring it out of me tomorrow. Let's ask some good questions, and let's get real deep on this, and let's start talking about some stuff. But I hope you're ready, man. I need y'all to stay blessed. The moment has arrived, and your moment, you don't even know. It's right around the corner. Don't get me started, baby. Let's go!